Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to look at my 5-year journal with you guys. We're gonna look at how I handle, we've gone to a lot of shows this year, and um, I like to keep part of the playbill, but not this whole playbill booklet. It's a very large, multi-page, fat booklet. I'm not keeping this whole thing, but I do want to keep kind of the cover and a memory of the shows that I have seen. So this year we started with Hamlet. And so what I ended up doing was I took the cover, cut it down to a B6 size, and then cut out the part that had all of the actors who played the various roles, and then a synopsis of the show, and just made a little back-to-back insert here. And then I continued doing that for the next show we saw was Bring It On. And again, this is the cast from Bring It On. We saw Come From Away. We saw Frozen and Evita, and then Dear Evan Hansen, La Cage aux Folles, which I brutally mispronounced when I did my other planning videos. And then the very last one that we have seen was the Jersey Boys at the Muni. That's a particular venue here. And that was the whole season. And then we also, this week, went to go see A Midsummer Night's Dream. And that was put on by the St. Louis Shakespeare Festival. And they gave us these fans, which were great, because, you know, if it's hot out, it's always nice to have a fan. And then the programs, playbills were here on the back. So I am going to, with the Jersey Boys, we're going to do it the same way that we did with these other musicals. So what I normally do is cut out the cover here, and then this page with the actors on it, and then just the little insert and put it on the date. And then I'll come back and write a little blurb about what I thought of that particular musical. I haven't done Frozen yet. I have done some of the other ones. I haven't done Evita yet either. So that just that little insert there on the day. I am really, really bad about keeping up with my 5-year journal. So, um, I do try when we go to some major events like this to keep that in the journal. The whole season for the Muni was all on one page. And originally I had thought that I would use this as a cover and make a little booklet that I could tuck in here. But I actually kind of like them on the individual pages. I like them loose like that. They stick out just a little bit from the page, and I feel like I don't know, it's just kind of more interactive and interesting. You can take it out, you can take it away from the book and then put it back in. And then should I decide later on that I would rather have them in my regular journal, I can always tuck these into the regular journal. And so I'm not really tied to this 5-year book if it really ends up not working well for me. So I don't think that I'm going to use these pages as a front or back. We do have tickets to one show here. We're going to see Les Mis at this venue. But I don't think I want to keep this whole season because we're not going to all of those, all the musicals. We have already seen Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and Phantom of the Opera. My partner has seen Stomp. So, and then Les Mis. So yeah, we didn't get this whole season, but we did get the whole season here. So anyway, I thought that you guys might be interested in how to kind of break down, again, this memorabilia that we all end up with. We end up with these things that are, the tickets, unfortunately, were online. And so those were in my Apple Wallet, so I can't print out tickets. So how do I keep memorabilia from the show? And, you know, what do I keep and what do I get rid of? And in this case, it is, here's where it says the Jersey Boys. So I'm going to rip that out because that's going to go just on the date. And then here are all the songs, and here's the cast. Okay, so I can always look up the songs, and I suppose I could look up the cast too, but it's kind of nice to have that playbill. You know, if somebody does do really well in their career, it's nice to have that playbill with their name in it. So those 3 pages are the 3 pages I'm going to pull out of this. I'm not pulling anything else out. I have looked through all of this, but you know, it's just, I can't keep everything. I don't want to store all of this, and so I feel like just having those 2 pieces is enough. And now the way that I do this, so I started with Hamlet, and that's the one I use every single time. I will very scientifically hold this over this one and make sure that I like that I'm not seeing anything I want to keep. Just kind of take a peek underneath. Yep. All right. And very, very scientifically, again, I am just going to take my trimmer and trim off, starting with the rough edge on the side, the torn edge. And then we'll take that torn edge, put it here, and right about there. You can see I'm being very exacting here about this. I'm only doing 1 sheet of paper at a time because I do want to make sure that as much as I'm not being overly exacting, I do want to make sure that I'm not cutting through anything important. And so by doing 1 sheet at a time, I'm kind of ensuring that at least I'm not cutting through anything important because I can see that page underneath. The first one that I did of these, I used a sheet of B6 paper as my guide. And then since then, I've just been using that first Hamlet one. And there we go. As you can see, that is it's fairly accurate. So now that I have this one, I will use this as my guide for this next one, just because I want these to match. So I don't so much care that it matches Hamlet. I do want it, however, to match the back side of itself. Again, I will start with this side with the torn edge. I am going to keep this edge up here because I want the part that says cast. So let's put that there, and Move this over just a little bit here. I'm trying to be somewhat accurate, but not fussy about this. So, let's see. Okay, it lines up pretty well. And then we will take this, line that up, and there we go. Now, I do have, you can see a little bit extra down here at the bottom. That is okay. I will show you what we're going to do next. So now it looks really nice. I have that whole cast on here. I know who participated, and I have the cover. So we're going to put them back to back. And I am going to take my sticky tape and just go along back here. I usually pick the one, so we had a little white down here. I usually pick the one that's slightly smaller to make sure that all this glue is sandwiched in the middle. I just go around the edges like that, and then two little sideways, maybe a little bit down there. Okay, so there we have it. This is the most difficult part of this whole thing. We're going to try and line this up. This corner right here. There we go. That is pretty well lined up. I have a little edge down here and a little edge here on this side. So I'm going to take my tiny scissors and we're just going to cut that excess off very carefully. And now that they're stuck together, if I accidentally get a little bit too much, it's okay, because I'll get it from both sides. So there we go. Looks like I did pretty well there. And then here along the bottom, cut that as well. And here on the back, everything looks good. So I think we are good to go. Now I have my little tuck-in for Jersey boys. So let me go back and find when or where I can put Hamlet back. And the Jersey boys little logo here. And for this, I just use my scissors. I'm not trying to be perfect about this. I'm just getting the name of the show here in a format that I can stick in. There we go. And what day was the Jersey Boys on? That was Friday. Friday was the 22nd, Friday the 22nd of August. So we will turn to August 22nd. I never know. Oh, looks like I did have some writing here. It's not about me. It's about someone else. So I am going to actually cover that up. And we are going to go ahead and stick this in. And again, just along the edges here, trying to get fairly straight, but you know, as long as it's within the edge, it's fine. There we go. And let's get this right in here. The 22nd, yes. All right, so now I will write that this was Friday. I'm going to write vertically. Friday, and the year is 2025. So I'll show you on a different page here. Or I'm maybe writing, there we go. The way this 5-year calendar works, there are 5 individual spaces for each day. And the idea is that each year you fill in one of these little spaces and then you come back to it the next year. So it doesn't have any year listed and it doesn't have any day of the week listed. So usually when I fill in something, I will fill in the year and the day. Sometimes I do it vertically like this. Sometimes I do it horizontally like that. Sometimes I add in pictures. Sometimes I'll add in a washi. Like this day I got 14 washi tapes. That must have been the day that the pre-order from June was delivered last year. And so I usually, if I write anything, I'll write, you know, a little blurb, and I might include some decor. I might not. So that is how I usually deal with this, this particular journal. So for August 22nd, go back here, I am going to, again, you know, this is not about me, so I'm going to cover it here, but I'll write a little blurb about what I thought about the Jersey Boys. For you guys who are watching online, I actually really loved it. I think I was smiling the whole first half of the musical, just enjoying the music. It was great. It's a little before my time, era-wise, but I still love that music. So there we go. We've got that, and then on, let's see, is it the 26th? So here we go. This is the day that we're going to this Shakespeare festival. And now I need to figure out how to do this. So I think my first course of action is going to be to get this thing off of the stick. There we go. Get it off the stick and get this sticky goo maybe kind of peeled away. I've not done this before, so with one of these, so this is new. When we went to see Hamlet, it was an actual playbill booklet, like I got for the musicals. So having this fan is a little bit new and different, but we'll get it figured out. I think what I'm going to probably do is put these back to back. As much as I would love to have the actors and the, you know, from the playbill and everything, my printer isn't printing really well. And so I'm not going to get a really good printout of that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take these two. And get these off of here. And I know I'm taking all of this sticky off and then I'm going to put my own sticky on, but you know, some glues discolor paper after a while, and this rubber cement can often, the rubber cement type glue can often ruin paper. So I'm going to use my own glue, which I know will be permanent and nice. And so now we need to figure out how much of this we can get. And it is going to be very, very tight. We're going to be cutting a little bit of the lettering off on this side and a little on this side. But I think that will be okay. We will still get the gist of it. And I don't need to know the dates because I'm going to put it on the day that we went to go see it. And that's all that I really need. So just a smidge off each side. Let's see if we can't do that. We have here, I'm putting this down because with it being a circle, it's a little hard to determine where that, all right, I think that's going to be correct. So, oh, and it did not cut all the way through. Oh no. No. Okay. I have to kind of trim back those little flyaways there. Well, that's good to know. All right. So if I've got it cut here and here, I'm going to be able to see that. And then we're going to cut here. That looks good. Let's go through this twice so we can get the, there we go. All right. And here we go. Goodness. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Here goes nothing. This always feels a little bit nerve-wracking, but doing it on a round piece really feels a little chaotic. Okay, I think that should be good. Look at that. Okay. Now, my choices are that I can leave it like this, or I can cut the other one to match and then put it on the back. And that way it'll be the same on both sides. I think I want to do that. Let's go ahead and cut it and see how it turns out. Okay, here goes nothing. If it doesn't turn out, that's okay. Well, I'll just end up with two of them. We're certainly going to give it a try. See if we can't get it to work. One of the things that I'm noticing is that these sides are not perfectly equal. So I clearly didn't get it right down the middle, which is fine, but it means that, oh, shoot. I didn't get it right down the middle, which means that, and I think part of that is because the words are off center a little bit because of that date. But because I didn't get it right down the middle, I don't think it's going to line up when I flip it. See, I'm going to end up with extra edges. So we may end up playing around with those edges a little bit, see if we can't trim those down a little bit. So that everything, once it's all stuck together, so that everything looks the same. So anyway, let's continue with this. Get this in here. So again, your journal is yours and you can always do anything you want with it. And when you come away from a show or an event, all of that ephemera that you bring with you is also yours. And you don't have to necessarily keep it in pristine condition. If there's something else that you want to do with it or another way that makes sense for you to keep it. For me, the most important part is having memories of the event in an area where I look for memories. And so for me, that is in my planner. So I think I'm going to put these, I'm going to glue these together and then I'm going to round the top. So do I want to round the top first? I think I do. I think that I want to round these little edges first before I do anything else, because that way I know where to put the glue. If I don't round the edges first, I'm not going to know exactly where I want the glue. So let's just take this and round it just a little bit. There we go. Now take this and we're going to round this. Okay, those are the two. I feel like this needs to be a little, come down just a little bit. Okay. There we go. Those are the two that we're showing on that side. Now let's do these two that are showing on this side. Again, this is never going to be perfect. I suppose I could get out stencils. I do have stencils, but I don't usually get them out for something like this. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be it's going to be a great memory device for me. So I will remember this was one of the best productions of A Midsummer Night's Dream that I have ever seen. I've seen it several times. And this was truly one of the best. So we're going to make sure that we get those corners and get glue around the corners so that everything sticks well. And then do a couple like that, maybe a couple like that. There we go. Both of them facing the right way. And there we go. Now again, I do have a few little edges because even though I held them together, I didn't glue them exactly perfect. And that's okay. I'll just cut those down. Hopefully we are not cutting too much off at the edge here. Cut right around this corner. We don't want to cut too much down on these sides because we've got these letters, but I think we're okay. I don't think we cut too much. And there we go. All right. So there we have A Midsummer Night's Dream. I do not have any additional little pieces that I can add to that. So I am just going to write in here. And I'm going to do it up on this top line because I didn't use that for 2024. I'm going to write 2025. That was a Tuesday. And we saw A Midsummer Night's Dream. This way I can remember that I need to write a little bit of something about it. For now, I'm going to put my blotter paper in first because sometimes this journal tends to run a little wet. I'm going to stick this in here. We'll find where our Hamlet goes in. And then very last thing I need to do, because I saw Shakespeare. So in the very back of this journal, I have a bucket list. And one of the things on my bucket list is to see all of Shakespeare's plays performed live. There's, I believe, 37, 39, I don't know. I have them all written right here. And I usually will put in, since I started doing this, which was in 2021, that's when I started keeping track. I will put in what years I see it. So we did see Midsummer Night's Dream in 2021, and now we have seen it again in 2025. That one we'll probably see multiple times because it's a very common one to do in the summer. This year we also saw Hamlet by the same production company, and both shows were excellent. So if you get a chance to see Shakespeare in St. Louis, highly recommend it. But for now, that is it's in the park usually, because that's usually where I go to see Shakespeare, is summer Shakespeare in the park. That's my favorite way to watch it. And so I will not check off another show on my list of shows because I've already seen this one once. So it's a repeat. So anyway, now I can take this out and put it here in the back. So now I have A Midsummer Night's Dream. I have the Jersey Boys, and my summer of theater is really making this 5-year journal something I enjoy a lot more. So hopefully that inspired you to maybe take some of the ephemera and things that you get from shows and really make them your own. So I have all of this that I'm getting rid of now that I don't have to hold on to. I've lightened my load. I don't have to have any of this stuff. I can get rid of it all and feel absolutely fine knowing that I have gotten the information that I need. So hopefully that inspires you to do your own project. I will talk to you later. Thanks.